Well, here we are with a returning champion, Pedro Patricio, who you were at the Sherman Oaks Film Festival, I think 2 years ago, like 2018 or
Uh-huh.
2017, 2018.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
to see you.
with Tiraquinas, which was a great film. And you're back with another great film, Kids Don't Die, which tonight everybody just saw. And I have to tell you, this was a film I know you worked on for quite a while. I remember being aware of the title. It was such a brilliant title. I think you mentioned it on your Instagram a long time ago.
Hmm.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
And it's so compelling. I'm like, ooh, his next film is Kids Don't Die. What's that going to be? And you did not disappoint at all. This is such a fascinating film. And the economy of your storytelling amazes me that you're able to create an entire world where something supernatural is happening with really just a few moments. I'm very impressed with this film, and I think I learned something now that even though I'm in my 50s, which is you showed how much use you can make of a title. You know, sometimes the title of a film or a short is an afterthought that people struggle over, but I feel like you made use of the title in a way to just like start telling the story right there. I don't know if you think I'm right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's a
But
good point.
where did this idea first come to you, or when?
It was during the time I was doing my master's at SCA, and I remember you're constantly being bombarded with generating ideas, and I mostly try to pick off of ideas that I read through newspapers usually. And I remember reading an article about this tragedy that had happened in Russia with this mother, and that just stuck. And I took like a piece of what had happened in that family tragedy, and from there on, I took the inspiration and then made some twists to the story plot. And yeah, it was from there. I remember, and I remember also that I had thought I was like, oh, this is going to be the thesis, you know. But then I pulled back, I reeled back. I was like, no, this is too much for the thesis. It was they're very very strict in the program, and they're very strict. Let's just leave it at there. They're very strict. So I decided to wait a bit for this. Plus, it was also, I feel, a theme that was much more complicated to approach. So I think I needed a little bit more time to digest it and to really be able to get away from school and think it over how I would do it. You know?
Yeah, and was Tirachinas was your thesis?
Hirochima's was the thesis, yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
thesis. Well, then you made a great choice on your thesis because that film is superb. So this one you took your time with, and you really so how did you know you were ready to shoot it? You just reached a point with the script that you knew it was time?
Yeah, I moved back to New York early 2018. I had some filmmaker friends here in New York that I reached out to and met up with, and then I had the story, and I've always been very impulsive, so I've produced almost everything I've ever done. So I immediately started producing, reaching out to like contacts I had out here, and I guess one of the nights that comes to mind was meeting with two close friends from here, from Brooklyn, from Greenpoint, which is Loui and Giesberg, and I met them at a bar nearby here called the Proust, and we met for drinks. And I remember pitching them that night the story, and I feel like usually like when you pitch something and you really feel it comes out like, oh my god, this is ready, like it's pit you've pitched it in a way where you're like, this really, I think, came out the way I feel this film should be. I feel like by then I was like, okay, this is happening. We're going, and I received their backing, their support, and from there onwards, it took off. It took off to a degree where you're like, this is really weird. How is everything panning out so perfectly? You know, because you're usually used to like something not going right in pre-production. You know, something not working. You know, but the I think from more or less that night, I remember where things just started to work out. You know? Yeah.
Fantastic. And from there, right, everything worked out. Obviously, your cast is superb. And I like your cameo. The neighbor knocking on the door. I bet the first viewing, I was like, "Hey, there he is!" And the cinematography. I mean, considering you made most of the film take place just inside that apartment, but then going up on the roof, just really, I think, your instincts are so good to open it up like that and really make that moment where the boys run off without her just in such a big space. Really did a great job of contrasting the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
fun shoot.
so and since this was this the first one you got to shoot in New York?
After the program, yes, I had shot some shorts here before, but I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I feel like I still have no idea what I'm doing, but you.
Well, I don't think someone with a master's in fine arts and well, whatever. I was actually, I think the leading question there was if you were able to use crew who you were very familiar with on this.
I worked with close friends that are filmmaker friends from here, from New York. And then I worked with a close colleague of mine from SCA, who's the DP. He's Mitchell Stern. And he's an amazing emerging director of photography. And I worked with him in my thesis, and I've worked with him constantly throughout the master's program. So we became close, and we somehow learned how to be on the same page in many scenarios where you don't need to tell each other any more things. You've already spoken, you've already planned, and you've already spent so many days in sets together that you kind of know even what the lunch special is going to be.
Right, you have it shorthand on the set and at the catering at Crafty.
Yeah. It was very nice. It's always a pleasure to work with Mitchell. I feel he always upscales any work that I'm bringing to the table. He always lifts the work in a very unique way. You know, I feel he's a highly talented cinematographer. So it's always a pleasure. He's always like so bright, so quick to come up with ideas, and these are all extreme low budget films. So you really have to be creative, and you really have to be focused and trying to problem solve I also think that working with Loui Terrier, who's also a filmmaker from Brooklyn, and he comes from painting. So working with him also, I feel very lucky. I feel those two guys are like huge pillars on this film, and their work is constantly up there, like at every level. And Loui did all the art direction, all the production design work, and he wore like many hats. He also was very useful with the kids, helping out, working with children and things like that. And his experience on previous films and and on sets is big. So I feel you feel very good having these type of artists with you along the way. You know?
Yeah, actually, you mentioned the kids. One of the questions from a jury member was, this is such an intense film, and the subject matter doesn't feel appropriate for children. Was it difficult working with these children and protecting them from elements of the story? Or did you not? Did you just tell them you live in a world where you're immortal?
we didn't tell didn't tell the kids the whole plot. By half of the film of our shoot, like they were like, "Oh, we get it." They're like super smart, so they kind of were on the ball with what was going on. But it was a pleasure working with Angus, working with Philip. Like I said before, they magically appeared out of nowhere in a day of casting that we had here at a friend's art studio that he politely let me borrow, because I had no place to cast. And he was like, "Here are the keys, go cast." I was like, out of nowhere, things like that happening, you know, and now you have an amazing place to cast. And Angus arrived with his father, Johnny North, who's also in film. He's a cinematographer. He was amazing. The dad question, like always, you know, because you send them what the story's about and a bit of the ideas behind. So they did have some concerns, but I think having Johnny, Angus's father, being from film, he totally got it. And then Kathy, Philip's mom, also, they were fabulous. I feel that they came to the sets, supported the film in every way they could. They were rock stars. It was a pleasure working with them. And then we shot everything separately. We never shot any of the violent scenes actually happening with the kids. And then we also organized the shoots that had nudity involved around the kids. So there was that also was shot when the kids weren't there. So we really planned everything out, and I think that it was I was petrified, because I thought I had previous experiences of working with children, and I would say it's one of the most complex things you can do as an artist. So I was a bit concerned. I was highly worried every day about them, about how they were feeling, about what their safety, you know, and their questions they would ask, because they'd be like, "Is mom gonna kill us?" And everybody knew that no one was allowed to tell them, you know, what was going on. You know, so I think in that sense we were very well prepared, and all our pre-production paid off. You know, our pre-production work paid off. So it was good. It was really good.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you thought it through clearly. You were so thoughtful about that. Actually, I'll jump in with a question of mine, or a statement, which is when you talked about budget and whatnot, I think it really is impressive just how completely you and your production design and your cinematographer, how completely you created this world on what you are calling a budget. But so it brings up this question from one of the jury members, which is, this feels very much like the beginning of the story. Have you sketched out an idea to expand on Kids Don't Die to be something longer, even feature length?
I have not. I know that this is the beginning of 3 films that I'm going to shoot that have some relation in their themes. I know that there's that unites these stories, and then I try, at least with this film, to I think any short that you look at that somehow stands out, I feel that it most of the time it'll ring like an opening, or some piece of a greater thing, and you aim to try and do that. So I feel that there is that impulse of trying to do that, sort of like you create sort of like an opening, you could say, or like some sort of big montage of a certain moment in a story. And yeah, that definitely is something that I try to do. But thinking of it becoming like a feature or something like that, that's something that I have not thought of. No.
Okay. Well, I regret to say that we've used up our time limit plus a little. Obviously, I'd love to discuss this film at length with you, like we've done other films. But I just want to thank you for submitting such a great film. Congratulate you for making such a great film. I just think I've seen 2 of your films now, and I just love your imagination.
Thank you so much for having us. Film Invasion Los Angeles. We are super happy to be part of this year's festival. And I want to also make a big shout out to Ari Brooklyn, who helped us all along the way in making this film as well. So it's been a long journey, and we're thrilled to be part of FILA 2020.
Thank you so much, Pedro.
Cheers. Pleasure.
Thank you.